Hey, it's Heather here. I'm going to try this again. This makes the second time I've shot a video today, and it would just, like, the whole entire screen would go white, and, like, it would erase it completely. And I was actually into talking, like, probably about 10 minutes whenever this one just happened, and I swear to God, it's like, whenever a vehicle drove by outside, like, something really loud, maybe it had internet, Wi-Fi, and so it interrupted. I don't know what the deal is, but I was talking about, YouTube and how it's like discouraging to be sitting there and be going through your suggested videos. Sorry, I'm just like tired, like mentality wise, I guess. But it's like to be going through your suggested videos that they, put up on your screen or whatever, and the ones that they've put up for me sometimes are talking about, paranoid schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, a borderline personality disorder. There you go. And just all kinds of shit. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, I get that they get paid to like pick people's minds apart, and stuff like that. And we're all just like, to a degree, kind of like this. Fuck, I can't even think right now. That's how tired I am. It's like my brain. But it's like we're just we're guinea pigs. It's like, let's see how we can psychologically tear people apart. And I get that they're like that, and I get that Facebook's like that, and like, good job for YouTube not being as bad as Facebook. Facebook is a lot worse and at doing stuff like that and everything. And it just popped up and it said name ID, something's not right. And that's another thing too that's happened a lot on my phone is my keyboard. Whenever I go to type, it'll go up and down like several times, and it's like, what the fuck? Let me type. But fuck, my nose. But this is still shooting after that popped up, so hopefully. But I don't know if somebody's like hacked in my phone. I don't know if it's just because my data's slow. I don't know what the deal is with why it's doing this, and I think it's complete and total bullshit and everything, and I think a lot of things are in this life. And that's like, I went and I had an evaluation done. It come back that I was depressed, if you're a first-time viewer. And my kid, she's been, my parents took custody of her 11 months ago, and I have not got her back. Nobody's gave a shit if I get her back, except for me. And she's my only kid, and she's 12. But I went and I had the evaluation done. It come back that I was battling depression, which I could have told you that. And yes, oh my God, my nose is itching. I don't know if there's a cat hair. But, anyways, I just get on here and vlog, and like I talk about whatever. And today I shot a bunch of videos, got a bunch of shit off my chest. And one thing too is I'm dyslexic, and in my previous video I was like, oh, 2018, and instead it was 2017 when I wrote a story that I wrote for my niece, and I was just like, damn it, why did I keep saying that? And that's the thing, is like, whenever I get emotionally relaxed, it's like my dyslexia kicks in, because then I'm just like, oh, I don't have to think and worry about it. And then I end up saying shit backwards. And then people that want to be dickheads and be like, you're retarded, you're stupid, then there's their punching bag opportunity moments or what the fuck ever. And I'm like, do you realize how much of an asshole you're being to me, and how much you don't give a shit about my emotions? And like, I'm a very emotional person, and like, I care about people's emotions. And I care about people's emotions more than anything. And that's the thing too, like, YouTube putting up suggested videos talking about mental illness. And I get that it does, like, if you're subscribed to somebody's channel and that's what they talk about. Or, even how they'll be like, oh, you've subscribed to this channel, and this channel, the people that watch this channel watch this channel as well. I get that. But when it's somebody you ain't never even watched, never even heard of, and they're putting it in your suggested feed of videos to watch, and it's talking about mental illness, and you haven't even looked up anything dealing with mental illness in a long time, or in a minute, or whatever, and you've even deleted, your watch, your library, like of, you've cleared your history search or whatever and everything. It's like, why are you doing that to me? People of YouTube, like, why are you trying to pick me apart and make me feel like insecure or whatever? Or do you realize that you're doing that? Or are you so emotionless you don't realize that you're doing that? And it's like, don't do that when I'm somebody that is emotionally on empty, is the best way that I can put it. And you're just making me feel like worse. Like, I don't have nobody sitting here living with me, holding my hand, helping me through things. And I get that to a degree, none of us have that. But there's also children out there that have had a parent that has held their hand, that has been that good parent to that child. And I didn't have that with my parents. And so I've never had that. And so I get that there's people out there that have never had that. But I have never had that as well. And people like us cannot be put in the same category as people that have. So we are not as emotionally strong and prepared for the world as the people that have and everything. And then in my video that I lost or whatever, I was talking about this girl that was my friend or whatever, and she has worked for call centers or whatever, and telemarketing and stuff like that. And she's told me about how, I had to call this person today and ask them if they wanted to try this, or I had to call, and I'm a debt collector now, and I had to, ask them to pay their debts, and I had to do this, and I had to do that and everything. And I'm like, I don't see how you could do a job like that. Like, I don't understand it. Like, and I get that sales and like doing what you're supposed to do, and here's your job and do what you're supposed to do, so you can make your money, so you can survive. And it's like that taught level of greed and loss of compassion or whatever, and caring about people's emotions. And I'm not saying nothing bad against my friend. Like, I didn't think she was a bad person for having that job, but I was like, I can't do that. And I get that the jobs that I've had, because I've worked in fast food restaurants, I get that to a degree. I've even done that to a degree. Like, even the very first place that I worked, my boss was like, hey, whoever sells the most desserts today, I have a box in my office of like our merchandise with our name on it, and so if whoever sells the most desserts today can pick something, out of the box, of merchandise. And she would make it like competitive for us, like a game or whatever. And as a matter of fact, I won a few things. I got like a cup and a bag and like, like what was it? Something else. And I don't even know. But I won quite a few times and everything, like the competitions and stuff. But the thing is with the fast food restaurant, we're not taking the fast food restaurant to the person. The person is walking into the fast food restaurant. So therefore they are putting themselves in that situation to be, not necessarily conned or anything, because I wouldn't even. Now, some people would. Some people would be like, they'd lie. They'd be like, oh, it's the best, And me, I'm an honest saleswoman, so I'm not like the best saleswoman. But then again, I kind of am. Like, that's the reason I won, is because I'm an honest person, I guess, or whatever. Like, I don't know, and honesty out trumps, like fucking being lying, and everything. And I mean, they'd come in, they'd be like, how long? Okay, I want, say it's a cookie. And they're like, okay, I'll buy a cookie. And they're like, how long have they been up? And I'm like, you know what? Those aren't that fresh. Let me go make you some fresh, or whatever. Like, I was always honest. And, like, that's just how I do it. And I justify that, like I said, because they're walking into the restaurant. Or my friend's job and being a telemarketer, you're having to insert yourself into somebody's life. You're going into their life, you're calling their phone number, you're asking for their attention. where when somebody enters into the restaurant, they're the ones that got in their car, they drove to the restaurant, they showed up there, and they put themselves in that situation to be bribed or sold things or whatever. And so I can't. Like, I'm a very emotional person and everything. Oh, and that's another thing, too, is like, whenever I get to where I'm emotionally comfortable, my dyslexia kicks in, like, really bad. And I noticed in my last video that I said 2018 when I meant 2017. And I did it a few times, and I'll look back at the video, and I'm like, oh, my God, I'm so stupid. And then I'm like, whatever, just let it slide. But, like, being diagnosed, having depression, having my kid taken from me, all the hell that I've been through this year and everything else, and just realizing how unique I am, I guess you'd say. And I even hate to word it like that because I honestly don't want to be that unique. I want to feel at home with people and stuff and everything. But I just get on here and vlog and talk about random things. And then, like, even my intuition is like, should I get on here tonight and shoot one more video? And it's like, I don't know if I will or not. And that's another thing, too, is I get really anxious, excited when something that I want to be paid attention to is the best way to put it. Like, it's like a kid, like a kid will do something, they'll create a nice project and they'll show it to somebody and somebody will be like, oh, but then they'll show it to somebody else and they're like, whoa, that's awesome. And then that kid's like, oh my God, thank you, and that's the way that I get. And when I get anxious, excited like that, then it's like my emotional wall drops down, so I become emotionally vulnerable. And then because I'm emotionally vulnerable, then it's like, hey, I can be myself and fuck intellectually, striving to be perfect and not dyslexic, and let me try to fix that, And so then my dyslexia kicks in even more. And then I still find out that in doing that and everything, that there's still people that are cruel. They're cruel, they're greedy, they're mean, and once they get you where they want you, then they'll kick you while you're down, Like, or they'll manipulate or whatever and all kinds of stuff. And so I don't know what the hell this world's coming to, I'll be honest. Like, I have no idea and everything. And so that's another reason that I get depressed, is because I'm like, I don't know why I'm alive. I don't know why anybody's alive. Because the world is ran out of so much greed. Greed is applauded. It's like, oh, you're greedy. That's a wonderful accomplishment. You were so greedy that you took care of yourself above all others. And that's the thing, too, that I said in the video that I lost or whatever, is I was like, if somebody came up to me and was like, you have to lie, past a certain point, because, everybody's capable of lying. And I even hate to say that because I try to not lie, like, ever about anything. Like, I try to be as honest as I can, and I'm honest to a fault. Like, that's why my fucking kid got taken from me, because the judge is like, did you say that? And I'm like, yeah, I did. Like, I'm not going to bullshit about it, And, it lost me custody of my daughter for the most part because I admitted to what I said. And that's even sickening to think about, to think, well, I admitted, that yes, I did do it. And that's the thing, too. They took custody of my kid in December, and the incident that the judge is like, did you say that? I'm like, yeah, but that was in October. Like, nobody cared to take custody of my kid in October or November because I said it, and I didn't say it no more past October, so why would you take my kid from me in December? Like, that makes no sense. Like, if you do something wrong and you learn the lesson and you learn to not do it no more, and it wasn't a physical act of actually doing something physically to my child or to anybody, I didn't cause any physical harm, bodily harm, or anything, and it was just a verbal expression. What the fuck, But, Anyways, I don't know, this life. I don't know what my purpose is sometimes. And I was talking in my previous videos about how, like, I've wrote songs and I threw away a notebook, and then I heard songs that I was like, that's my song. And I was like, people are shitty and, like, greed and everything else. And I'm just like, it feels like it's the end of the world, and yet the sun still rises every day, is the best way to put it, you know? And it's like, how do you live with yourself like that when you are an emotional being? And then even that, there's this guy that is on my Facebook right now, whether he'll be on there in another week or not, because I've talked about how my Facebook, I put up a post and I was like, hit the like button if you want to be my friend, because I'm at a point that I'm realizing I need people in my life that can kind of tend to me. But it's not going to be in vain. If you tend me, if you help me out, if you take care of me, if you put in the effort with me, if you tend to making me, just like you tend to a garden to help it grow, if you tend me, you're not gonna, and all I can give you is my word, and if you don't believe it, then I can't force it down your throat, but I hope that you do. And so I've only had 2 people like that post, and so I'm like, okay, right now I've only got 2 friends. But anyways, I said in the post, if people didn't like it, that I was going to delete them. And so this dude might end up being deleted from my Facebook, which really sucks because he's higher up in society. But then again, I don't want to be a higher up in society because I come across as narcissistic or selfish or greedy or anything like that. And this guy has come across like that from time to time. And, it's just that one for all and all for one mentality and stuff and everything. But he's in the Marines. And 3 nights ago, he put up that one of their was it a Marine? Yeah. One of their Marines had committed suicide. And I was just like, shit, And I was like, oh my God. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I'm not going to say the Marine that's on my Facebook, but I was thinking, dude, I'm battling depression. Like, if you would have known that he was so bad off that y'all can't talk to him about it, and granted, he's in the Marines, and so his is related to that, but still, depression is depression, and that is a relatable topic. Why didn't you give him my damn number or give him my damn Facebook, and I could have talked to him? And so anyways, this Marine committed suicide. And so then he puts it up on his Facebook and everything, and I was like, that's so sad, And me and this guy that's the Marine that's on my Facebook, we don't talk or whatever anyways. But then he put up another post like, what was it, day before yesterday, I guess, or whatever. And it's like, oh, if anybody is suffering from depression and this and that and know that you can reach out to your fellow Marines to talk to, and we're all here for each other and this and that, and our what is it? Our blood, our creed, our this, our that, and their group and their mentality of, them being Marines is higher than anything and all that and everything. And I just thought to myself, until I got to that part and I was just reading how you could have somebody to talk to, I was sitting there and I was like, could I contact one of y'all if I'm sitting here depressed? Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like, I've not had the life like y'all. I've not been in the Marines. I've not been in any of this. Could I contact one of y'all to talk to y'all about, I'm depressed and, I'm suicidal and I want somebody to talk to that, I feel like I can talk to. And I was like, I don't know if he means it like that or not. And so I kept on reading the long post, and sure enough, it was just directed towards his Marine buddies. And I was just like, see, that's what people do that excludes. And that's the reason I get on here on my YouTube and I'm like, anybody. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't give a shit if you black, you white. I don't give a shit if you ain't got fingers or toes or legs or whatever. I don't give a flying fuck, okay? I don't care. I'm not racist. I'm very religious, you know. You treat me with respect, I'll treat you with respect, you know. And I get on here and I'm like, if there's anybody out there that ever finds themselves needing to talk to somebody, I'm here for you. I will talk to you. I may not be the best, but I will try, you know. And that's another thing too, is I'm like, you can write me on my Facebook. And I'm like, just find me on Facebook and write me on Messenger and I will respond and I will talk to you. Because I get it. I get what it's like to be that sad and that depressed. And I don't care why you are. I don't care if you committed some horrible crime and you've served your time in prison and now you're out and you're just like, I've wasted my life and I've wasted years. I mean, for crying out loud, I dated a meth head for 5 fucking years. My dad is his own nut job case to a degree. Like, my family is not perfect. I go through hell all the time emotionally and stuff. And so I get it. And so if somebody out there needs somebody to talk to, you can hit me up on Facebook and I will write you back as soon as I can. And that's another thing too. My phone's kind of fucked up right now, but I will still write you back. You know? Like, I hate knowing that anybody commits suicide. And I know that it happens all the time. And I know that even in, what is it China or Japan, like, there's a dress, like a way that they dress, and I can't pronounce it even if my life depended on it, probably. But I mentioned it to my friend, this girl that's helped me out a lot and everything, that's also my neighbor. I mentioned it to her, and Lord, she knows exactly what I'm talking about, you know. She's like, oh yeah, this, you know, and everything. And I'm like, yeah, that. And it's like they kind of glorify suicide, you know, and they kind of glorify being depressed, and it's because mental health is shunned so bad in their society that it's like, oh, your mental health is just, you have a mental health problem, oh my God, you know, we're not gonna hang out with you, talk to you, or treat you any type of way or whatever and stuff. And I can't function like with people that are so heartless and cruel, I guess is the best way to put it, and everything. And that's another thing too. I mean, I've even been around people that have had Tourette's. Granted, I ain't never been really close with anybody that's had Tourette's, but there was this one guy, as a matter of fact, whenever I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, my cousin was friends with him, and he came over where we were at, because she used to work at the front desk at a motel, and that's where we was at, like, just sitting there waiting on her to get off work. And he come in, he's like, hey, can I use the bathroom? And she's like, yeah. And, like, he went to go use the bathroom, and, like, while he was using the bathroom, like, he sounded like a puppy dog. Like, he would whine and bark and make these noises like a dog. And that was the way that his Tourette's came out and everything. And even though we sat there and we kind of giggled and everything, like, it was not in a malicious, hateful way, you know, it was just like, he literally sounded like a fucking puppy. Like, could do, you know, like you could record him and play it to somebody and they'd be like, that's a dog whining, you know, and it's like, no, that's a human making that noise, you know, and that's their acting up. And then my brother-in-law, and I said this, you know, I've mentioned him occasionally, and he's not even my brother-in-law anymore, but he's like the only brother-in-law that I've had. So he's my ex, because they got divorced, so he's my ex-brother-in-law. But he's in the National Guard and stuff, and sometimes we wondered, even my sister, his wife, you know, she asked him one time, she's like, have you ever been diagnosed with having Tourette's, you know, or having a form of it? And he's like, no, you know, and I'm good and everything. But, like, we would be sitting there, and you're just sitting there with him, and he would just, woo, out of nowhere, and you're just like, are you okay? You know, like, are you having some PTSD go on, you know, or whatever? And that's like, one time my sister, like, she come out of the bedroom smiling when we was all living together, and, you know, like, smiling in a way, like, laughing. And I was like, like we both woke up around the same time, walked out of our bedrooms or whatever, and she's just like kind of, shaking her head, like, and smiling. And I'm like, what is it? What's so funny? I can tell something's funny. And she's like, him. And I'm like, what? And she's like, he woke up last night. And she's like, and he sat straight up in bed. And she's like, but he didn't wake up. She's like, but he looks like he woke up. And she's like, or something like that. Or maybe we weren't. Maybe this wasn't when she was living with us. I can't remember, but she was just like tore up, like laughing about it. And I was like, what is it? What's so funny? And she's like, he was sitting there, and he just sat straight up and he's like, a bogey, man, a bogey, get the bogey. And she's like, and then he just went back to sleep. And she's like, and it just, she's like, it just made me laugh. She's like, it was so funny, and everything, and like, I don't know. And so we've kind of wondered sometimes about him, because he still, last I heard, kind of does that occasionally, where he'll just be, he'll be quiet. He'll be sitting there watching TV. You're sitting there watching TV with him, or you're just walking into the kitchen and he's sitting there quietly watching TV or doing something, and he'll just, woo, out of nowhere, and you're like, are you okay? And he wouldn't even know that he did it sometimes. So that's the reason we were like, he's else playing a joke on us, or it's something dealing with PTSD and he doesn't realize it, or he has Tourette's and he doesn't realize it and he's never been tested for it. But that's my oldest niece's dad, and we hadn't seen any signs from her dealing with that or whatever, so I don't know. But I just know how mental health is affecting a lot more people than most people would allow or like to admit to, or whatever. And we need to get to a point where, that's not like sinful to talk about mental health, and where mental health is valued over greed or whatever. And I don't even know how to word it properly, and I'm not high on the intellectual scale of things and stuff, but it's like, if this keeps on, it's like the end times will end up coming, which, it's inevitable that the end times are going to come, whether you want to be like Armageddon, apocalypse, whatever, Revelations, it's going to happen. It is written that it's going to happen. And then there are too many people that are like me, they're like, oh, it's written and it's in the Bible and I'm religious, and so it's going to happen. Even in doing that, you are fueling that. You are fueling, every time anybody reads from Revelations, they are fueling that it's actually going to come into play and it's going to happen. And so, I don't know. I really don't know what to say about people committing suicide and stuff like that, other than it's sad, and I wish it didn't ever occur. But, yeah, like, I just get on here and I vlog and I talk about a lot of stuff and a lot of things that I'm going through, and I don't know. I really honestly don't even know. Like, it's like I have my positive stuff and my positive vibes, positive things that I'm going through, and then I have the negative, and balance is key and this and that and everything else. But I'm tired of feeling like I'm supposed to be numbed like a robot so that way I can survive life. Because nobody wants that, everybody wants to, because when we disconnect from our emotions, we are literally disconnecting from a part of our soul, or so I feel. But then again, who knows? It may, and this might sound mind-blowing, and it kind of is, but it's like the paradox of everything, and, like just the, and I'm not even sure if I'm using that word correctly, but I think I am. But it's like the flip side of everything. It's like, maybe in disconnecting from our emotional self and stuff, maybe we are becoming but I doubt it. Like, the biggest thing that you're supposed to stay connected to is your soul and your spirit. Everything else, your emotions, even, you know, and your body and your mind, you're eventually going to disconnect from, you know? And it's like reaching that higher, soul level of things. And how are you supposed to do that and manage that and let that come into be and like learn from your intuition and all the shit that goes on in life and the amounts of people that affect you. And even when you don't want nobody to affect you, but there's the ripple effect and there's the backwards ripple effect. And that's just like, hey, these people come into the restaurant so that way, I can be a saleswoman, And then my friend, oh, I'm going to go into their life by calling their phone to be a saleswoman, and stuff like that. And that's like even me using YouTube, I could use YouTube and sit here and be blind and stupid and ignorant and be like, oh, they never look at anything and, and they don't get paid to do this or whatever, yet they do and everything. And I could be like, oh, I'm just going to be a hermit and stay alone. And unless you're like literally living up on a fucking mountaintop, or whatever, and like completely alone and nobody's around you and like you're always going to be affected. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how secluded you try to make yourself. You're always going to have some outside external effects that are pushing in on you constantly to create and mold you, and everything. And it's kind of chaos. And it's like chaos ensues, and what do? But I don't know. I'm kind of depressing myself talking about all this shit. But I'm going to get off here because it's still kind of early and I might watch myself a movie or something. Plus, I got to walk my dogs again. But I don't know where my life's going. I don't know what to do. I'm just living one day to the next and trying to survive. And luckily, I have at least enough money to make it for the next, 2 or 3 months without working. Just paying my basic bills. But that's not including groceries and stuff. And I've thought about getting back on food stamps. Haven't been on them in a while, but I don't know. I need to find somebody that's like me to build my life with. Even if it's just a friend to hey, roommate and hang out and talk to and stuff. And everything. You need people around you that enjoy the same things that you enjoy, And granted, you don't have to enjoy all the same things, but you need people around you that are encouraging and supportive. And I think that's one of the biggest things for people that do battle depression is it's like trying to find somebody that, is encouraging. Because I believe that's why depression kind of sets in. People are like, oh, it's a mental disorder, and it's your brain. Well, maybe it's your brain's chemistry because your whole life you were taught you were a piece of shit and you're worthless. Or you were taught that 95% of the time and only 5% of the time. It's like, hey, you might be good enough. I don't know. Let me think on it some more. And then it's like, no, you're not, But, and then there's all different ways that, depression could even be defined, based upon the person that's suffering through it. And that's the way that mine's defined. In all honesty, I think, if it's hey, what would be your medicine to fix your depression? And it's somebody who could be encouraging of me and be around me almost daily to give me that encouragement. So that way I get to the point where I am cocky and confident, And then when I get that way, for them to not be like, oh shit, she's too cocky, too confident, let's tear her ass back down, and be like, you're stupid and ignorant and dumb and shit. Because that's what even kind of happened with me and my husband. I've been separated for 5 years from my husband. Well, 5.5 years. Almost 6, actually. And, I've been separated from him all that time. We were together 2 years. Our first year of marriage, he had to battle with me like my depression to a degree. And he's like, no, you are beautiful. No, you are smart. No, you are this. And then he was kind of depressed too. And so I had to be like, no, you are handsome. No, you are smart, and all this. So we're doing that for each other. Well, then I get to the point where like I'm cocky with him, like he'd be like, like he would kind of be like, you look good today. And I'd be like, I know. I'd be like, I know. I know I look good today. I put on makeup, I did my hair, all this, or whatever. And he got to the point where it was like that made him feel insecure, me being cocky like that. And so then he got to the point where he was like discouraging and downgrading. He'd be like, you look okay, or you look like shit, or stuff like that. And like, I don't get why. I don't understand it. I don't. And so because he did that to me, I ended up doing it back to him. And I'm like, no, you are ugly. Like, and so 2 years in, we called it quits because he was cheating on me and a whole bunch of other shit. Like just dealing with that, like and emotional and to a degree physical kind of abuse, I guess you could say, or whatever. But we just got to a point where we just couldn't. So he left me and he never came back. So it is what it is. But I'm gonna end this video here. And I hope it, like, my cat just, I don't know, I guess his stomach's tore up. I gotta find the spray. But anyways, I'm gonna end this video here. If you like my videos, you can comment, share, like, or subscribe, talk to me, chat with me. You can hit me up on Facebook if you want to, through Messenger if you need somebody to talk to. My name's Heather once again, and I'm gonna end this video here. And so, Stevie, what are you doing? T. But I'm going to end this video here, and like I said, comment, share, like, or subscribe, and I'll catch you later.